Welcome to this MYOGA mini. It contains tips to help you to personalise and perfect your sun salutations this summer. MYOGA minis aren't online practice sessions that act as class stand-ins. There are lots of these out there online, many of them really good. But we believe that home practice is a great opportunity to work in your own time, at your own pace, exploring postures and improving technique and alignment, and creating a practice that really suits you. Home practice is a great complement to classes because it means that you can then get so much more out of them when you're able to make it to a shared practice. In 4 mini films, we'll look at elements of the sun salutation with a focus on small tips that can make a big difference. And we're starting with downward facing dog. A posture in its own right, as well as a transition in vinyasa flow, downward facing dog is widely practiced, but is nevertheless worthy of more thought. So let's take a look at the basic downward dog you can see in front of you now. The feet are walked in quite close to the body, and it's equally fine to walk them out again. The farther out they are, the less chance you will have of getting your heels to the floor. And you shouldn't expect just to fall into the posture. It's fine to start working your way into it by bending the knees, walking the dog, crossing the knees across the body, flexing the hips a little. But when you work your way back into something that's comfortable, you're aiming for a triangular shape where the hips are the highest point in the posture, and you can draw a straight line from the hips down the back of the legs towards the heels, and then working so that you can then draw a straight line from the hips down the back, across the shoulders and down to the arms. Roll the weight of the hands down onto the finger bases of the forefinger and thumb. Rotate the lower arm in and the upper arm out, releasing the shoulders down your back. One of the things that people often say about downward facing dog is that when they're repeated often or hold it for any length of time, it hurts their wrists. This common issue is really one of weight and energy distribution. And you can start by activating your hands, energizing fingertips and finger bases so that your hand on the mat is more like a suction cup rather than a flat plate. As we said before, tighten the triceps, the muscles at the back of the upper arm, and rotate them outwards and downwards, broadening collarbones and reducing tension in shoulders, which can then move away from the ears. But the real solution is to shift your weight away from the hands and backwards on your mat entirely. So activate the quadriceps, the muscles on the front of the thigh, by contracting them and drawing them upwards and in towards the bone. This allows the muscles at the back of the thigh to relax. At the same time, imagine drawing the tops of your feet up towards the front of the shin so that you're actually contracting the muscles on the front of the shin, and this will allow your calves to relax. Contract the core, lift the hips really high, and as your heels drop, your weight will move backwards, releasing pressure on your hands and wrists. This might take some practice, and you can do it as many times as you like to feel the effect. One final point before we leave dog pose: to deepen the posture once you're in it, focus on your feet and try to widen your stance on the mat. Keeping feet firmly planted, try to pull the mat sideways. This opens up the sacroiliac joints and deepens the posture. Plank pose, especially as a transition from downward to upward facing dog or cobra, is in fact quite a challenge, and it's often practiced without enough attention in a flow sequence. Done properly, it's a great core and shoulder strengthener and a stabiliser. In turn, your strengthened core will protect your back and your neck. If full plank is a challenge for you, practice from your knees as illustrated. Let's start by looking at what plank is not. A slow lowering of the hips to the floor with a risk of hyperextension to lumbar vertebrae. This can cause a single trauma or, over a number of years, unwanted repetitive stress. If we look at what plank is, it's a slow, controlled and entirely supported movement, lowering the body in a line to the floor. And from this point, you can lift into the back bend of your choice, taking care not to take the head too far back. As you lower in plank, draw your chin towards your chest so that the back of your neck lengthens, and maintain this position throughout. If you jut your chin and throw back your head, your abdomen automatically sags, and this makes the posture even more difficult as your arms have to fight the weight of your core. Drawing your chin down and back lengthens the back of the neck and allows your core to lift towards your back body, stabilising the posture. So keeping your pelvis high, bend your elbows and keep them close to your sides. And only when your chest is a few inches from the floor should you bring your pelvis into line with the rest of your body. If your pelvis comes down too fast and comes to the floor first, this is what creates the curvature in your spine. Once you're in plank, activate your legs, gently pushing your heels towards the back wall, keeping the pelvis the same level as the shoulders, and at the same time lengthen through the top of your head in the opposite direction. Take a few breaths before coming to rest on the ground or moving into the back bend of your choice. That's it for this session, and all there is left is for you to enjoy your home practice. Focus on the small tips, see the big differences, and develop a practice that really works for you.